Welcome to Miami. What's up, guys? So I'm here to talk to you. I've been in Miami now 4 years, 4.5 technically now, about. And I'm going to talk to you about, is it worth it, right? What's it like to live in Miami? Is it worth it? Is it a rich person's playground? Can anybody move here? And I'm going to explain. I'm going to do a separate video talking about when I moved here and like my personal experience, but I'm going to speak generally speaking right now. So first and foremost, yes, Miami is, especially if you're going to be downtown Brickell, South Beach, the beach side, it is a rich person's playground, meaning you could live in the surrounding areas of Miami or be outside of the ritzy areas and be okay, but you have to understand that, again, I'm talking about like an average person. Average person makes like 40, 50K a year. You're not going to survive in Miami, right? Even like where I live right here, I'm pretty close to the water. You're looking at 3, 4K rent for like, a 2-bedroom, right? Like it used to be a lot cheaper, right? You would have to probably go 20, 30 minutes inland to get something way cheaper. But then is that really Miami anymore? Now you're just South Florida, right? So I'm speaking being in the city. I can get on Biscayne right here where I live. I can go south 10 minutes and I'm already in downtown, midtown. I can be in midtown in 5 minutes, really, right? I'm just outside of the city limits myself, the actual city limits. And then I could walk right now 2 blocks to the intercoastal, right? Then I would have to take a small bridge and I can get to the water. So I'm right outside, right? With that said, again, if you're making 100K, you have no debt, you're a pretty responsible person, you could live here and do okay, but you ain't gonna be balling. Like when I moved here, right, I got 2 offices, I bought myself a house. I remember I did an event a couple months after moving here. I took out some of my top students to a dinner. I spent $2,500 on the dinner. It was like 3,000. Put it down on my card, not a problem. But again, I'm a higher income earner, right? Same thing. I bought that lifted truck. I bought another property. I bought 3 properties right when I moved here within a year and a half. So I moved differently. Now, the last year and a half, it's been different. I've been nose to the grind, not really going out, not spending money. So I've had a taste of both sides, right? And I can tell you this is a rich person's playground. So when it comes to money, if you're not at least a 6-figure earner, and again, assuming that you're responsible, you don't have debt, if you're like 100K, 150K earner, and you're gonna play keeping up with the Joneses, you're not gonna be okay here. You're gonna be living paycheck to paycheck and you're gonna be miserable, okay? So that's definitely not the move. Now, another thing I get asked about is people. Now, I've had good experiences here. I've met some great people here in the fitness community and the business community. Most of the people I've met with are good. Even when I go walk around, I go on walks every day for 30 minutes, an hour and a half, most days. People I say hi to wave back. This whole everybody's an asshole, I don't know, maybe everybody in Brickell and downtown, if you stay only in that vicinity, is that way. I don't know. Maybe you're running into tourists, but the day-to-day, I've lived in North Miami. I lived in North Miami Beach. I've been on the beach side right when I moved here. I lived there for a couple months, and I think it's more your vibe. You know what I mean? I've been in the worst areas of Miami, the best areas. I'm cool with everybody. Smiles. Hey, how you doing? Everybody's cool with me. So I don't know. My experience with the people here, I've met a lot of Haitians, a lot of Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, great people, Cubans. Have I run into some assholes? Sure, but that's like the small percentage. Most people I've talked to have been humble, cool, good people. Conversation, not giving me an attitude, right? So if somebody's coming here, I think they're either running into tourists, people who might be jaded, or they're just moving around in the wrong circles. Now, that doesn't mean that doesn't exist. I know they do, and I've met a few, but that for me has been the exception. So I think it's going to come down to you, your vibe, and then maybe the circles that you're trying to associate with. And maybe it's the younger crowd, right? Because I'm obviously older. Maybe that younger crowd of 18 to 21 maybe is like that. Most of the people that I've kicked it with have been between maybe early mid-20s, 23, all the way up to maybe 45, 50, and they've been cool. Maybe that super young crowd is that way. I don't know. But even some of the youngsters I've met have been pretty nice and cordial, okay? Traffic, I'm coming from LA. Obviously, Miami traffic is an upgrade. However, yes, people can't drive here and have road rage, for sure. I always think it's funny how mad people get. I've had bicyclists get mad at me for no reason. I've had people try to like cut me off in parking lots complaining when they're going the wrong way in a one-way. As soon as the light goes green, I'm impressed. I'm actually impressed how quickly people honk the horn at others. It's like as soon as it goes green, it's like green honk. It's like, it's like, dude, you literally have cat-like reflexes, right? People yelling, upset. So people on the road. Now, again, my family's from South America, so I'm used to that crazy South American type of, cut each other off in traffic, like puta que te parió, cussing and all that. I'm used to it. So this is an extension of that. I think South America is even worse, but you see that here. I'm not surprised to see it. And yes, the traffic can be bad depending on where you're coming from. If you're from LA, yes, it's bad, but not as bad as LA. And yeah, the people are a little bit crazy. Bicyclists, I notice here, sometimes can be dicks for no reason. They think they own the road. At least that's been my experience. I haven't run into or had too many close encounters with many bicyclists, just a few. I've gotten flipped off. I had a dude pull up to me next to a stoplight. I'm like, are you crazy, bro? What if I pulled a gun on you? Like, so I don't know. Apparently I went too close to him, even though there was probably at least 4 feet between my car and him, like plenty of space. Anyways, we talked a little bit about finances, right? Again, if you're responsible, 6-figure earner, and you're not paying off debt and you're not keeping up with the Joneses, you could do okay here. You ain't gonna be yacht party, dropping 2-3K on the dinners all the time, but you could be good, go out, live, and be okay, assuming you don't have debt and you're not keeping up with the Joneses, okay? Number 2, the people. Most people I've run into here have been good. I guess it's gonna depend maybe specifically in hyper-local positions. Like, I stay away from South Beach for that second point. People treat South Beach like it's Vegas, right? You have a lot of tourists there. That's not indicative of Miami. I rarely go there. I go there to work out with, my calisthenics trainer because he does classes there. Once in a blue moon, we usually train privately. I don't like South Beach. Muscle Beach is cool, and that's why I go, but I'm not going out there, and most of the people there are tourists, which is fine. But that's not indicative of this area, okay? So if you're running into assholes there, that's kind of the place where they're at, right? Traffic, right? Traffic, really bad, okay? Now, culture. Of course, you have a lot of Cuban here. You do have a lot of Dominican, Puerto Rican, Colombian, Venezuela, which is cool. So food-wise, it's going to be amazing. All kinds of walks of life of people, rich Hispanic culture, a lot of places to do dancing, right? Salsa, merengue. You have a lot of people from Argentina here too. I think North Beach on the beach side is considered Little Buenos Aires, the downtown. Really cool. Like, I was surprised when I moved here. Everybody spoke to me in Spanish, and it was cool because coming from LA, people, the Mexican Americans, a lot of them, some of them speak Spanish, a lot of them don't, and it's mostly people speak English, right? Even the native Spanish speakers. But here, it's the opposite, especially when you're on the beach side in those areas. They can speak English, but they'll start, hola, ¿cómo estás? Da, 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 and they'll speak to you in Spanish. So it was cool. So I was like, oh man, it's awesome to go everywhere and speak Spanish. And I kind of got used to it. Now, where I ended up moving later in North Miami, it was predominantly Haitian neighborhood, super cool people, but obviously they didn't speak Spanish. But a lot of people that I met with, every day, super, super cool. So the food, the culture's cool. I got to learn a lot about, Haitians. I met some Jamaicans. I met a lot of people that moved too. There were transplants from different places. So culturally, pretty cool here. Again, unless you're somebody who's like, oh, I only like, French culture or Italian culture or whatever it is. Like, when I moved here, people said hi, they came over, right? I remember when I moved out of my last house that I was there for a couple of years, the first one that I bought when I moved to Miami, my neighbors were like crying because we had built a pretty good relationship. I didn't get that in LA, right? So it was cool. So culturally, food-wise, it's just different, dude. Like, I remember leaving my car unlocked. One time I came home, I was so tired, I left my car open all night. My wallet was in there, nothing happened. And I'm living in the city, dude. I'm sure maybe there's parts that you can't do that, but I wouldn't even dream of doing that in LA, like, at all. I leave my doors unlocked, my house unlocked here, just completely different world. So I don't know. People may claim that I'm in a bubble, but I wasn't living in a super upscale neighborhood. It was quiet, right? Even like where I lived in North Miami, there was like only street lights every couple blocks type of thing, and I wasn't, even back then, I wasn't too far from downtown, a little bit farther than I am here. A little bit more inland from where I'm at because I'm 2 blocks from the water. But super cool. Again, nice people, just culturally really cool, more southern as opposed to like LA, which is more city. Now, again, maybe if you go downtown Brickell, it's a little different. Everybody's in the high rise, right? And then you get more of what people classically think Miami is. But that's kind of the overall synopsis that I would give you. You can do all the touristy stuff. You can hit the water. But yeah, overall, I would say it's a rich man's playground because, you go out to eat, you're going to spend $50. Now, for me, that's nothing. But again, if somebody makes 30, 40, 50K a year, that's going to be a lot. And I would think that, when I go out with my ex and with people and, I'm getting food, I'm like, man, these, waitresses are probably getting paid 12, 15 bucks an hour. And we just spent a couple $100 here. It's like a whole, it's like 2 or 3 days worth of their pay. It's crazy. How do they survive, right? But they're renting an efficiency, or maybe they're far away and paying way less. But you could, right? I mean, you can move a little bit more north, maybe like Delray Beach, a little bit out of Miami, and find a place for 1,500, 2K, something like that, something small, and make, 3, 4K a month and be okay maybe. But, you're going to be like living paycheck to paycheck, and a lot of people don't want to do that. But you can find a lot of good people here. You can make a lot of connections. Again, it's a city where, I'll say this, it's a city where you can really get sucked up into that party lifestyle and that life very quickly, and it can chew you up and spit you out, which is what I think happens to a lot of people, especially in the social media era. But if you come here and move correct, you have a lot of opportunity. Because one thing I noticed culturally that's different is people here don't work as hard. Like, I remember when I moved and I was trying to get people to come over to my house to like cut my grass and do stuff like that, people wouldn't show up. They wouldn't be reliable. I'm like, what's going on? But my business mind said, I'm going to crush it here, because that's where I'm going to come in and be sharp. I'm the one that's always early, leaves late, right? Everybody's always late here in Miami. So again, if you come in and you keep that mindset and work ethic, you can do very good here, especially if you're like a realtor coming here and that kind of stuff. You can separate yourself as an entrepreneur very quickly here, because you'll be on the ball. However, it's very easy to fall into that lackadaisical drink a beer by the beach lifestyle that's kind of promoted here, especially with the price tag, right? You can start spending a lot of money without even really realizing it very quickly. So I would say, if you make 200K and you don't have debt and you're not keeping up with the Joneses, you can move pretty cool in Miami and be all right. 150, 200K, because that's what, like 12 to 15, 16K a month. If you pay $3,000 in rent, again, you're not paying off a bunch of debt. Maybe you have a couple $100 for a car loan. You're not paying off credit cards and you're good. You'll be fine, right? But I don't think that's most people. And most people want to keep up and show off and flex for Instagram, and it's crazy. But that's kind of overall my experience. I'll do another one where I give my personal experience on Miami. I am going to be moving here pretty soon. I love this place, but I think it's time to go. I don't know if I'm going to stay in the city of Miami or what I'm going to do yet. I do like it here. I love Florida as a whole, the vibe, the weather. I can't get enough. I got used to the humidity within like a couple weeks, so it's been fun. But hopefully that helped you. That's just kind of my synopsis on Miami. If you want me to go more into detail about certain things, let me know. Again, it's kind of tough. I haven't been here that long, and maybe my experience is only unique to me, but I've really liked it here, and I think it's cool overall. I just think the city overall gets a bad reputation because of the people that come here and the type of stuff that they show online. But if you stay away from those crowds, it's a whole different kind of thing out here. All right, have a good day.